Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Attention Ditto Heads.
Lightning fast lane.
Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the Soul of Excellence.
He is a radio host at 77 WABC here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's Bo Snerdley.
Welcome, my friends, to the Yes, It's Monday Again presentation of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. If you would like to be part of the program this afternoon, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us, 800-848-9222. Looking forward to taking your calls. Quite a bit happening in the news today. We have a guest in America, President Nayib Bukele from El Salvador, and it has been lesson time for members of the left and the American White House press corps. Just one of these things. They keep on with this business of hammering the fate of an El Salvadorian illegal immigrant to America, member of MS-13, that Donald Trump and ICE deported back to El Salvador. That is just one of the issues that is up for grabs today. Also, there is the case of the young Hamas supporter who is now, word is that he might be leaving the country soon. Okay to deport him. That has the left upset. The left upset, of course, the continuing upset over tariffs. There's plenty of news going on that. Over the weekend, the governor of Pennsylvania and his family were threatened in a horrific way with an arson to the governor's mansion. I've seen reports that this person that they captured is a quote-unquote socialist. We'll see whether that becomes part of the news story as that arrest now has been made and information is being coming out. Janet Yellen, the former Treasury Secretary, said something interesting, which we will get to today, about manufacturing. But let us start, my friends, in the White House in the Oval Office today with President Trump and the president of El Salvador to cut for. And let us begin with this beauty.
And the military now, Marines, the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, every slot is, we have the best numbers we've ever had. We call it recruitment numbers. And we've never had anything like it. We had records on at every single level. But very important, the policemen. The policemen are joining forces now that we're having a hard time with policemen because we weren't protecting our police. Yeah. And we cherish our police. The police are great, and the firemen and everybody else. But we have the highest numbers that we've ever had, the most enthusiasm. Great enthusiasm. And on trade and other things, we're doing great. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars. We made, 2 weeks ago, I gave them a little bit of a pause because, you have to show a little flexibility. We go back to what we have to do. The markets have been very strong once they got used to it. But we were losing $2 billion a day.
This is amazing.
There's no company big like this. But this is the biggest deal ever made. Now we're making $3 billion a day. We're a great country, but we had stupid people running this country, and I can say it. What they've done to us at the border should never and can never be forgotten. It's a sin, what they did, and you are helping us out, and we appreciate it.
Thanks. Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. It has dropped, 90 5%. It's incredible.
As of this morning, 99%, 99.1% to be exact.
Why are those numbers not in the media?
Well, they get out with the fake news, like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country, actually. But it's a shame. You're right. Isn't that a great question? Why doesn't the media? Why don't they put out numbers?
Yeah, 99%. I mean, it's crazy, right?
We're doing
it's
great.
A crazy turnaround.
Christy, could you maybe say a couple of words about the border? How we're doing?
Yeah, it's just been absolutely phenomenal what a great leader can do. Clear direction. Our laws matter. We should all.
Yeah, and so that was Christy Noem, of course, jumping in there. But that response was just classic. Your border traffic, it was 95% increase. Now it's 99.1%. That is amazing. Of illegal border crossings, down 99.1%. In less than 4 months that Donald Trump has taken office. It is astounding. And if you listen to him before tariffs, we were losing, he said, $2 billion a day on trade. Right now, we're gaining $3 billion a day. That's a swing of $5 billion. And that isn't being reported. He said, of course, why? Because, I don't think CNN, I think they hate America. That didn't sit well over at CNN for some reason. So, cut 18, Dana Bash took to the air shortly after that statement, and this is Miss Dana Bash.
We have heard a lot of bits of information, a lot of news nuggets that we want to definitely focus on, a lot of some misinformation as well. But we want to digest all of this right now with our terrific panel here and our reporters. Jeff Zeleny, I want to start with you. You are at the White House. Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing. That said, I want to focus on the news that we heard.
Would it be fair to say that CNN hates Donald Trump? Okay, so you had that. Now, let's get back to the Oval Office. Back in the days of Bill Clinton, of course, we used to call it the Oral Office for other reasons. And you will hear CNN's Caitlin Collins. She is so annoying. I mean, her voice is grating. Her questions are annoying. Anyway, let's go cut one. And Marco Rubio and Stephen Miller and Trump, I think, have to... anyway, let's just check it out.
These are sick people. Marco, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. Except for Venezuela, that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple.
The court specifically said he couldn't be sent back to El Salvador, though.
Point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel a foreign policy function in the United States. We won a case 9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago.
And they said that we have to answer this question from you? Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that?
Well, it's illegal.
Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility.
Caitlin Collins, that's why nobody watches you anymore. Okay, now, Stephen Miller was also outside the White House, but before we do that, let's continue in the Oval Office, cut 3, with El Salvador's president. Ask specific, are you going to return this illegal immigrant to America? And this is that response.
That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked
¿Usted lo
President
liberaría,
Bukele, what
Presidente
is your, can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm suppose you're not suggesting that I smuggle terrorists into the United States, right?
It's always
how
how
can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the
The president of also. Well, let me ask the president of are you going to return him? You're going to return? How can I do it? Your question, Caitlin Collins, CNN, is preposterous. I'm not going to smuggle. What am I going to do? Smuggle a terrorist into? No, we're not going to deport him back. We're not going to send him back. He's a known terrorist. We're not sending him to the United States. It's preposterous. Now, Trump was asked at some point in this meeting about the war in Ukraine. And let me tell you, this is a classic Donald Trump response. Cut 5. The war in Ukraine comes up, President Trump.
But that's a war that should have never been allowed to start. And Biden could have stopped it, and Zelensky could have stopped it, and Putin should have never started it. Everybody's to blame.
Have you spoken to President Zelensky, sir, about his offer to purchase more Patriot missile batteries?
Oh, I don't know. He's always looking to purchase missiles. You know, he's against. Listen, when you start a war, you got to know that you can win the war. Right? You don't start a war against somebody that's 20 times your size, and then hope that people give you some missiles.
Boom. All right, so we have just one more, folks, with this, and this is Stephen Miller outside of the White House. In fact, he's standing adjacent to the Eisenhower building there, and again hammered on this illegal alien from El Salvador. Cut 2.
Anyone here tell me what would happen to the illegal alien from El Salvador if he came back?
This is Stephen.
Anyone here know? Anyone want to guess? Any of you? What? Does any of you know the answer to the question? Legally, what would happen if he came back here? Does any of you know? Any of you? You've been writing. I'm talking now. You need to stop. I'm talking now. Does any of you? Why was it unanimous? You're done. Does any of you know the answer to the question? Does any of you? You've been talking about it for days.
Y'all would deport him again, no?
He would be arrested.
Okay.
He'd be put in confinement. He would be deported the second time to El Salvador again, because there's no withholding order for an alien who's a member of a foreign terrorist organization, number one. Number two, if the gang that he's a member of doesn't exist in El Salvador anymore. So what you're asking for is to be deported twice. But additionally, if we chose to just pretend that the withholding order was real, he would be deported to a different country. So, for example, he could be deported to Egypt. So I'm just trying to understand, is it your view, in other words, you define a country that would be willing to take a MS-13 member from El Salvador. So I'm trying to understand from you all is, so if he came back and under our laws he was then deported to Egypt or to Somalia, would you then be saying, great, I'm so glad that you deported him to another country? Is that what you'd all be saying? Do you understand our immigration laws at all? But
so this is just great. So Stephen Miller just asking the reporters, okay, if you got what you wanted, what would happen? We deport them all over again. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Yes, my friends, it's Monday. Another week begins with the American press being who they are.
This is The Rush Hour with Bo Snerdley.
Bo Snerdley.
On 77 WABC.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50, code listen50. T's and C's apply.
Hey,
Hey, let's talk about your expense report.
I didn't submit an expense report.
You will. Custom saddles and dog training services are not within policy.
What are you talking about?
SAP Concur uses advanced AI to audit and automatically detect out-of-policy expenses. It's the breakthrough I needed to focus more on our future.
These are my future expenses?
Yes, and self-defense classes are out of policy.
I'll need self-defense classes?
You will.
For what?
It's a big dog.
SAP Concur helps your business move forward faster. Learn more at concur.com.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
My name is Lily, and I've had hidradenitis suppurativa, HS, for years. I finally found some relief since taking Cosentyx. Relief means I can show up more.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
This is an interesting argument that's being made over this MS-13 gangbanger. I mean, the DOJ argued over the weekend the federal courts have no authority to direct the executive branch to conduct foreign relations in a particular way or engage with a foreign sovereign in a given manner. That is the exclusive power of the president as the sole organ of the federal government in the field of international relations. Garcia's lawyers, this would be the criminal, Abrego, the alleged criminal, Abrego Garcia, are making demands that exceed their constitutional authority because what they're asking to do, the Trump administration is arguing, is they're asking the United States to extract from a sovereign nation one of their own citizens. And to just do it because our court said to do it. That power is beyond the reach of the federal court's equitable authority. That's what the Trump argument is. Quite interesting. Supreme Court ruling aside. And the Supreme Court ruling is a big deal, but this is an interesting case in the balance of power and the separations of power. We will see how this plays out. My guess is he's not coming back to the United States, regardless of what liberals demand and what liberals want. James Golden, Snerdley. Yes, it's Monday already. On Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, we're coming back, so don't you dare go away.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel or that white chocolate mocha. Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
Clorox Sentiva smells like grapefruit. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
Okay, we could be here all day. Try Clorox Sentiva for a trusted clean with long-lasting freshness. Also available in lavender and coconut. Use as directed.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
James Golden is Snerdley with you. Princess Diana sent me a article from it's the Washington Examiner. Chris Van Hollen, Democrat Chris Van Hollen, senator, is planning now on going to visit. He's going to visit El Salvador to see whether he can get in and check out the Democrats' new folk hero, the hero of the Democrat Party, apparently, this criminal from MS-13, alleged criminal from MS-13, Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. And Van Hollen says Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia should have never been abducted by the government and illegally deported. The courts have made that clear. The administration must bring him home. No, they mustn't. And by the way, if you're wondering, didn't you say the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court ruling is being interpreted by the Donald Trump administration that the courts said that they must allow him to enter into the country. They have to. So in other words, he shows up at the borders. They can't say, no, you can't come in. But the Supreme Court did not tell him that they have to ensure that he doesn't. And they remanded, by the way, the case so that the judge in this Obama judge has to define what she meant by the term effectuate his return, given the foreign policy constitutional charge of the Trump administration, which she cannot, as a judge, conduct foreign policy. So that's what I was saying before. This is an interesting case from a standpoint of separation of powers, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Princess Diana also said to me, this Gretchen Whitmer thing is hysterical. The Babylon Bee did a photo today of Donald Trump clearly in the Oval Office shaking hands with a woman who's dressed in a burqa, and only a limited part of her eyes is shown. And underneath that, the caption says, Gretchen Whitmer sneaks into White House again. So this trolling of Gretchen Whitmer is just delightful. It is delightful to see. I'm enjoying every moment of it. Okay, let us get back to some other things now. Stephen Miller was on Fox News talking about the other hero of the Democrat Party, Mahmoud Khalil, who, the Democrats are still arguing, even though the courts rule he can be deported, Democrats are still demanding somehow that this student, this Hamas sympathizer, be allowed to stay. This party is amazing. And Stephen Miller was on Fox News. I think he was with Bill Hemmer. And this is what Miller and Hemmer said, cut 6.
Will Mahmoud Khalil be deported from the United States? Quick answer on that, please.
Yes, he will, as will anyone who preaches hate for America. His organization said they wanted to eradicate Western civilization. Look, under this country, under this administration, under President Trump, people who hate America, who threaten our citizens, who rape, who murder, and who support those who rape and murder are going to be ejected from this country. And I just wish a fraction of the media outrage that we had over deporting terrorists and deporting monsters and deporting their sympathizers from this country was spent crying over the blood that was shed of American women and children over the last 4 years, or crying over the 500,000 children that Biden trafficked into this country, or crying over the neighborhoods destroyed by gangs and drugs and fentanyl. Cemeteries are filled with tombstones from Americans that were killed by Joe Biden and Mayorkas and his administration, suffering beyond imagination. We just arrested an illegal alien who committed sex crimes against 20 children. Sex crimes against 20 children freed by a sanctuary city. So I'll reserve my sympathy and my empathy for the Americans being brutalized by these monsters, and we will not apologize for getting these monsters the hell out of our country, Bill.
Boom. All right, let's turn to other matters. The tariffs, which are, again, the biggest, end of the world. The apocalypse is here, if you listen to certain liberals, et cetera, et cetera. Janet Yellen, this woman was the former Treasury Secretary of the United States. Folks, this blows. What you're about to hear, if you haven't heard it already, from Janet Yellen, blows my mind. That this woman was the Treasury Secretary of the United States of America. This is Janet Yellen on the issue of bringing back manufacturing to the United States of America. Cut 10.
Perhaps it's to bring back American manufacturing, but I really think that's a pipe dream and not something that is likely to be accomplished. And we could even raise questions about whether or not, in a broad-based way, that's a desirable goal.
That is mind-blowing. The Treasury Secretary pretty much is, unless I'm hearing this wrong, unless there's something more to this that I am missing, what she is saying is that bringing back manufacturing to this country on a massive level is a pipe dream, and we could even argue whether it's desirable or not. Unless I'm hearing this wrong, this is what this woman said. And she said that this afternoon, shortly before NVIDIA announced that they are going to bring manufacturing back to America, NVIDIA, to manufacture American-made AI supercomputers in the United States for the first time. This comes from the NVIDIA newsroom. This National Robotics Week, NVIDIA highlighting the pioneering technologies that are shaping the future of intelligent machines and driving progress across manufacturing, healthcare, logistics, and more. Advancements are driving this fundamental shift in the industry, plus the emergence of its accelerating the evolution of AI-enabled robots capable of adapting to dynamic and complex scenarios. And they go on to announce that they are going to be spending up to $500 billion, $500 billion of AI infrastructure in the United States of America via its manufacturing partnerships over the next 4 years. So you have Janet Yellen, former Treasury Secretary under Joe Biden. It's a pipe dream that manufacturing is coming back within minutes. One of the world's largest computer firm, NVIDIA, says we're getting ready to drop $500 billion in manufacturing in the United States to manufacture some of the most advanced computers the world has ever seen. Tim Burchett on the tariffs on CNN. I have two cuts. Both are worthwhile. The more I hear this guy, Tim Burchett, the more I like him. What he has to say. That would be 12 and 13. Tim Burchett talking about tariffs. Let's just play them back to back.
I feel good about it. China has been a terrible actor, and the blame clearly lies on Congress. We've sold our country out time and time again. Both parties have. This president realizes it, and that's why the tariffs are going into place, or he's negotiating them in. And when you look at places like China that have just ripped us off considerably, our intellectual property, billions upon billions of dollars. They'll take products that are manufactured during the daytime in China, and then at night they'll put them under another label or even the same label, and then sell them on Alibaba at 30% less. So I think it's a great move.
Party has not been in favor of tariffs.
That's correct, but I think you're seeing a shift in that. But we have a short memory of tariffs. If you remember, I'm a motorcycle guy. Harley Davidson was about to go under, and President Ronald Reagan boldly stepped up and said 1,000cc motorcycles and above that the Japanese are dumping on the American market cheaper than they can produce. We're gonna stop that by putting
but that's targeted. That's a targeted tariff.
Yeah, but but it's past that. And if you think Congress is going to go along with any of that, because Congress is in bed with K Street lobbyists. Let's just be honest.
Sure.
They're
in some cases literally.
Literally.
Oh.
And that's why they are. Yeah. Literally.
Sunday morning.
Yeah. Well, sorry, all the good folks that are in church won't hear this.
Right.
But the truth is, it worked.
Yeah, and so let's just talk. Let's just say what it is. Congress has been in bed with the lobbyists, and that's why we haven't had the action to combat these unfair trade practices that have been coming in. What is it all about? What has it always been about? About the money. Because that's what in bed with the lobbyists is really talking about. If you support me on this, I'll make sure you get support when you are reelected. That's what it comes down to, folks. Or other ways. So, now how's this all playing out with the American people? Well, CNN ran a poll about a CBS poll, and the story was on Fox. So you have Fox covering a CNN piece about a CBS poll. That would be cut number 8. And this is what that quick 40 seconds, this is what this sounds like. Fox covering CNN, covering CBS.
Heading into the goal, which is get tough on China, be open to negotiate with other countries. If President Trump will sell this as a fairness issue, Americans are going to be with him. That CBS poll indicates a majority support his goals on this. Germany shouldn't be taxing our cars at 100% when we tax theirs at a quarter of that. It's a basic level of fairness. And Democrats, for their part, this is a big chance for them. Like Elizabeth Warren, who you had on the show earlier, she's been for tariffs her whole life, but she hates Donald Trump more than she likes the things she believes in. It's a big chance. Joe Biden added tariffs to electric vehicles and solar panels and steel and aluminum. Democrats need to work with Donald Trump to crack down on China.
I had that mixed up. That was actually Republican strategist Brad Todd on CNN talking about the CBS poll, and the CBS poll shows broad support. Now, this was the Fox story about CNN. This is a Fox story, cut 13. They interviewed, and so Fox is playing the CNN cut of them interviewing your average worker on the street about the tariffs. And this is what that sounded like.
What about the tariffs?
Well, I feel like for years we've been getting ripped off, and why not make it fair? 0-0. And I think Trump was upfront about it. He said we're going to hurt some now.
I think some of the countries they're already starting to come around. It's going to be good. I really believe that.
You have faith in Trump?
Yes, I do.
I think he's doing the right thing. In order for us to get back where we need to be, he needs to get the money somewhere, and they're charging us. Why not charge?
Yeah, why not? And that's an average American on the street. Yeah, this whole Democrat effort, they're against everything that is good for America. If we want to get the terrorists out of America, the gangbangers, Democrats want them in. We want to finally deal with the aggressive, illegal China trade policies. Democrats want to keep them and instead make Trump the enemy. They have terminal TDS. There is nothing that Donald Trump can do that will satisfy these people, that these people will support, that they think is right. Even things that they have been in favor for their entire political careers, right now, they're out campaign because it's Donald Trump. James Golden, Snerdley.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with Bo Snerdley.
Bo Snerdley.
On 77 WABC.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
Experience a progressive lens engineered with AI from Essilor, powered by individual measurements of your visual behavior. A lens personalized to you by an Essilor expert. Discover Verilux XR Track and enjoy instantly sharp vision in motion and seamless transitions from near to far. Find your local Essilor expert today at Essilor.com.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garden and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is the Rush Hour with Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
And let's see, we're going to head to the phones in a moment. You know what else would happen on this day? There are times, I know, all of us, we're young, right? And we're young, we're stupid. And it's amazing when you're young, stupid, and you're popular. Because you can be stupid and do stupid things when you're young, and most people will forget them. 2013, Justin Bieber was 19 years old. He's on tour in Amsterdam, and on this day, he visits the Anne Frank Museum. So they have a guest book. So, 19-year-old Justin Bieber writes in the Anne Frank guest book, truly inspiring to be able to come here. Anne was a great girl. Hopefully, she would have been a believer. Hopefully, she would have been a fan of his. Goes to visit Anne Frank, and yet it's all about him. She's a great gal. Hopefully, if the Nazis hadn't killed her, she might have been my fan. I mean, anyway, a lot of criticism, but he's 19. I bet you he looks back on that now and is like, oh my, I can't. But, 19. Of course, some performers are so self-absorbed that they would probably write that kind of thing even today. And we didn't play When a Man Loves a Woman by Percy Sledge. We don't want to do it now, but Percy Sledge passed away today. It's one of the greatest R&B songs of all time, When a Man Loves a Woman, Percy Sledge. Anyway, we only have a few moments left. Let's get to the phone.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Gail in Pennsylvania, welcome. How are you?
I feel that every one of us believes in open trade and sharing strengths and weaknesses worldwide, but we found that we were the only ones that are open.
Mm-hmm. We were the only ones on open because the politicians of both parties did not have the spine to take on rogue nations like China that were intentionally breaking all the trade rules that were set up by the World Trade Organization, and intentionally, on purpose, by design, letting American jobs flee the country. Thank you, Gail. George, quickly, we got to get ready to get out of here, but I wanted to get you in real quick.
All right. So, Mahmoud Khalil, it's all about setting a precedent by the left, okay? And if you look on the whole history of the Democratic Party, slavery, supporters, okay? Take a look about what's going on, them supporting criminality and terrorism, okay? It's basically to weaken the structure of this country. That's
what we have time for. You made a brilliant point. And on that note, may God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your family, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow for the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.